do it with Miami Dolphins.
The pressure, he's in trouble. Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle. It's a Dolphin touchdown. Throwing deep upfield on the near side. Man open. Touchdown! He's got a man.
The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown!
He's going deep. He's got it for a touchdown.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan.
Let's go!
What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. I'm going to back here for another one on this Father's Day. I appreciate all y'all in the chat for showing up, and all of you in the chat, all fathers across Dolphins land, across the world, watching, whatever. Happy Father's Day to you. Shout out to Rhino. He says, Happy Father's Day. Then he donates $20, and he decides he's going to use my government name. He said, get some lunch on me, my friend Jordan. Happy Father's Day. I appreciate you, Rhino. I hope you're having a fantastic day, my friend. Fake Spike 94, member for 27 months. Says, Happy Father's Day to Reason to all the dads. Happy Father's Day to you too, Fake Spike. Appreciate you, homie. Day one. Russell, member 7 months, says, Happy Father's Day, fellas. Happy Father's Day to you too, sir. And happy Father's Day to all of you in the chat. Appreciate each and every one of you for spending some time out on your day to come here and talk some Dolphins football, and amongst other things, we got a bunch of stuff we're going to go over today. Dalvin Cook, could he be waiting until training camp to sign a deal? Tyreek Hill comes out here and he goes after the media over Tua regarding Zion Williamson. NFL preview publication comes out and claims Tua is on the hot seat. We'll talk about that. And you know, we got a bunch of other stuff to go over as well. So I appreciate all y'all for coming through. And, you know, some Trill Williams news. And in my opening segment, my opening thoughts, I'm going to give you some information on Cam Smith. You're not going to want to miss. Shout out to Justin. He said, member for 9 months. What's up, Reason? What's up, man? How are you doing? All right. Let's get into my opening thoughts here, and let's start off with Cam Smith. If you are a Patreon, you got the update last night. Maybe you saw it this morning. Whatever the case may be, I gave a Patreon, and members only. So Patreon, you got the 3 takes video. For channel members, you got a written version of 3 takes talking about my topics. If you are not a channel member, if you are not a Patreon, I implore you, go do so. Patreon.com/Phinside The NFL, or go hit join right next to subscribe down below and join up. I talked about Cam Smith, which I'm going to get into right here, but I also gave some more information on the offensive line, and I gave a brief update on Wilkins' contractual status, his extension status. So I'm not going to talk about those things, but I'm going to talk about Cam Smith because this is more of a pressing matter. All right. Now, we had a report come out, I covered it like last week or the week before that. It was very vague, but it talked about, I believe it was the Pete Prisco stuff. The CBS stuff, where the CBS guy was talking about Cam Smith, and he said that he had heard maturity concerns, and I had said I hadn't. Well, in digging in a little deeper, it seems there are some maturity concerns with Cam Smith, and this might be what's holding up his rookie contract right now. Now, it perked a lot of people's ears up when all the other rookies out of the draft class got their contracts taken care of, but Cam didn't. And what I've been told is, yes, Cam Smith is reportedly a little bit immature. I've been told the team hates giving kids they deem a little immature, they hate giving them that $3 or $4 million and letting them run wild like Hulkamania through the 80s on South Beach, in South Florida. That they're not a fan of that. And especially when you're a couple months away from him being in the building every day, right? We had OTAs and mandatory minicamp, but those only lasted a couple days out of 2 weeks. The thing is, between the draft to the end of July, that's a 3 to 4 month span of where he's not in the building every day. All right. Now, back in the day, they used to just wait a day before camp to pay the first rounders. But now the problem is with the rookie scale, it's a lot tougher to not iron out a deal. But I've been told the Miami Dolphins have made a decision to wait as long as they possibly could to put ink to paper. Now, there's a couple things now after that information is handed to you now that you got to think about. All right. How concerned are you that this team is already identifying, there's a potential concern with giving him millions of dollars as a rookie? It's one thing to have your scouting reports and hear things from coaches and hear things. Now, we've heard from his coaches that he's matured a lot since he's become a father. But it's one thing to hear from coaches and other players. It's another thing to see it firsthand. I don't know whether he went out with vets or young players on the team and they reported. I don't know what the case is, but clearly they have gotten, it's got to be a pretty strong belief in that building if they're willing to hold off the money coming his way. So I don't know what the case is. This is, people have kept asking me, what's the deal? I've told people, structure and money. And then this week, around Wednesday, I got all that information and found out what the deal was. And so here I am conveying it to all of you guys. Take it for what it's worth. That's what I've heard on Cam Smith right now. And we'll see how it plays out. They're obviously going to get money done, but if it ain't until right before training camp, you now know why. You now know why. And you got to ask yourself, is this maybe one of the reasons why he fell out of the first round, or he fell to us? Because other teams were so certain of this level of immaturity? That is a legitimate question to ask yourself right now. Listen, on the flip side, I've been told on the field, they know they got a star. I've been told on the field, the people who have seen him, if he gets beat, you don't beat him the same way twice. Quick learner. I've been told when you watch him on the field, you see a star in the making. Everyone who's watched him live so far that I've talked to has said this kid's got star potential. So, again, I'll say what I said on the Patreon video. I'll say it here. All I know is let's hope everything straightens out and this doesn't turn into one of those things where the guy is unbelievably elite on the field, but off-field questions make you wonder whether you want to extend him when you get to that point. Let's just hope everything goes smooth. I got faith that Vic Fangio and Cam Smith now as a father, everything will be good. I'm not passing judgment. I'm just relaying what I've been told. But I've been told on the field, Cam Smith is unbelievable. So we'll see how it all goes. Listen, this is just, and I will say this is from the same source who got a whole lot of stuff right for me, going back to Xavien Howard's injury when he's looking for money, all the way to a lot of the Tua stuff in the locker room that got confirmed, that I reported, that then got confirmed by Barry Jackson. This is one of my best sources right here. So, it is what it is. I'm not sitting here. Sure, am I concerned about it? Yeah. But am I worried and anxious and, oh no, Chicken Little? No. Let's let it play out. Let's let the season play out. All right. So yeah, I talked about that further in the Patreon video. Go check that out. And I have the update on the members, on the community tab for members only in that Patreon, and in that update on the community tab, I also talked about the offensive line and another update on Christian Wilkins' extension. So become a member, become a Patreon. Either way, you will get all that information and all that update. So go check it out. Now, continuing on, huh? Another day, another lair added to the Buffalo Bills Stefon Diggs drama. Apparently now Diggs is frustrated with his offensive role and his input on play calling. He wants input on play calling. I'm not joking here. He was upset how the formula in the offense changed after week 9. And, you know, if you do the splits, right, between week 9 and, you know, week 10 to week 1 to 9, week 1 to 10, week 10 to 18, right? You know, he went from, you know, it is noticeable when you go over the splits, what he's talking about, right? Just for an example, right? Like his targets per game went down from 10.38 to 8.88. You know, his receptions a game went down from 7.5 to 6. His yards per game was like Jalen Waddle, like with backups in terms of it went from, you know, we talked about how Jalen Waddle and Skylar Thompson, Teddy Bridgewater, he was averaging 30 yards less a game than Tua was in there, right? Well, Stefon Diggs from weeks 1 to 9 averaged 107 yards per game, but then weeks 10 to 18, he averaged only 71.5 yards per game. His route depth, he was running deeper routes. His yards after the catch was similar, 4.58 down to 3. And he was motioning a lot less. He went from motioning 15.7% of the time to about 10.8% of the time. Now, where does this matter? Okay. He went from reception touchdowns per game from week 1 to 9. He was first. He dropped to 12th. Targets per game, he went from 7th, dropped to 12th over weeks 10 to 8. Receptions per game, he went from 3rd to 9th. Yards per game, he went from 3rd to 15th. Yards per route run, he went from 2nd to 14th. Motion percentage, he went from 8th to 16th. So, you know, he's frustrated. I'm telling you, man. I'm gonna just say it again. You know, we're gonna talk about Tua potentially being on the hot seat in a bit here. I mean, is McDermott lining up to be on the hot seat? Is McDermott gonna, like, because you got all this nonsense going on. Stefon Diggs getting unhappier every year. It gets a little bit more unhappier. Even with all that money in his face. Money ain't everything, clearly. And McDermott's just letting it happen. I mean, if you want my honest opinion, this could get into a situation after this season where Stefon Diggs could go, it's me or him. And wouldn't that be quite interesting? Wouldn't that just be peaches in Buffalo, huh? But it's not good right now. I mean, you know, again, I talked about this. He's sitting there watching teams in the AFC East gear up and get better. He's watching us get better vastly each offseason, from coaching all the way down to personnel. He's watching the Jets start to catch up to the Bills. You know what I mean? The Jets went from bottom feeders with no quarterback to now they're catching up to the Bills. You know, shout out to you, Jay Newts. I appreciate it. He says, biggest shout out to Reason. Thank you for getting us our fix on this Father's Day. Hey, man, it's Phinside on Father's Day. I'm here, baby. So, you know, this is hilarious. I'm just going to say, this is hilarious. I love every single minute of it. Wow. To watch the meltdown. Just last year, rewind all the way back to last offseason. How many people were picking Josh Allen as an MVP favorite and the Buffalo Bills as Super Bowl favorites? Not only did they not get over the hump, everything's just blown up in their face like a package of anthrax in the early 2000s. It's unbelievable. How the mighty have fallen. You know, we can sit here and joke about Jim Kelly and the Bills in the 90s. They lost 4 in a row. At least they went to the Super Bowl 4 in a row. These guys, you know, they sniffed it for 10 seconds of Super Bowl, 13 seconds of Super Bowl berth, but then they blew that. Right? Oh my God. Round of applause for the Buffalo Bills. You know? Round of applause for the Buffalo Bills. Who would have thought they would figure out the recipe to make themselves their quarterback, their franchise quarterback, a MVP favorite and the team a Super Bowl favorite and blow it all within a 365-day calendar. Good for them. That is some new levels of failure they've discovered. Hey, you got to give it to the Bills. They always find new ways to lose, right? I mean, Jesus. I mean, they got to change their name to Billy. Boy, I love losing. Hold on. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. But what I was gonna say was, oh yeah, it does. Billy, boy, I love losing every day. Jesus, put an E on the end, eh? You know, pronounce the E like a Y though, Billy. So, hey, I'm sitting here. I can't wait till we do our preseason roundtable when Dougley and all the boys come up here, because I'm gonna double down on that regression. I am doubling down on the Bills' regression. I've been talking about it all off season since they lost Frazier and Edmonds. You bet. Like every year when we do that, that how do I say it? Preseason, but it's, right before the regular season starts roundtable. When we do our regular season roundtable, I'm doubling down on this prediction. I'm doubling down. You know what? The way this is going, if this season starts off bad for them, could they miss the playoffs? Could this be a team that squeaks out a 9-8 because they have so many internal problems going on? Could it? Listen, I expect them to win 10 or 11 games. But if things go really wrong for them and they go like really right for us, let's say we sweep the AFC East, the Jets split with them, the Patriots split with them, all of a sudden, right, you're 2-4 in the AFC East. I'm just saying. Because apparently the word out of New England today is that they're confident that they're hopeful that they have a chance of landing DeAndre Hopkins. So, next thing you know, the Bills are going to turn around and trade Stephon Diggs and go get D-Hop. So we'll see how it goes. We will see how it all goes. That's good stuff. That is good stuff right there. The Bills' downfall. What a time to be alive. So let's get into it. Let's get into Dalvin Cook here for all y'all. So with Dalvin Cook, could he be waiting to training camp to sign a new deal? That's the question right now. So Dalvin Cook, this is just as of yesterday, running back has no official visits, could wait until July to sign contract. As former Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook's free agency continues, he reportedly is in no rush to sign a detail. Yesterday, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported on Saturday's episode of SportsCenter that there's a chance that Cook waits until the negotiating window closes for players who receive the franchise tag before he chooses to secure his next landing spot. He's in a little bit of a wait-and-see mode right now. No official visits to teams that I'm aware of, and we talk about the franchise tag with Saquon Barkley. Cook can actually wait until July 17th to sign, I'm told, because you've got 3 running backs on the franchise tag, Tony Pollard and Josh Jacobs. During an appearance on the Rich Eisen show on Tuesday, Cook explained that he's hoping to find in his next. He said he wants value. I want somebody who values Dalvin Cook. I want somebody that wants me to go there and give me the ball. I just want to go to the right situation. Cook revealed that he played the entire 2022 season despite dealing with a torn labrum. Added that he's in no rush to sign the next contract because he wants to make sure his team will be the right fit. My shoulder's feeling great, he said. So it's like a waiting game right now at this point, just trying to find that right situation. I don't think it's a rush or anything. I'm feeling great, being in the best shape and stuff just to play for a football season. That's going to be the best thing. I'm not in a rush to sign with nobody. I'm trying to find the right fit for me and my family. The Vikings released Cook, who is due $14.1 million cap hit for the 2023 season. While he's unlikely to command big money contract, the 4-time Pro Bowler is undoubtedly one of the best running backs in the league and can immediately improve a team's offense. However, it's apparent that his free agency isn't ending anytime soon while he waits for other situations across the league to play out. Now remember, this is something that I actually hinted at. Right? I talked about the fact that, what if the Vegas Raiders or one of these teams of the franchise rescinds it. Now, words come out that not only is the $14 million back on the table from the Giants and Saquon, but from what I've read today, in fact, apparently Saquon's demands are somewhat reasonable from what he's asking the Giants for right now. So, like I said, even when I put out this hypothetical, I said I thought the Giants and Saquon would get something done. It looks like they're going to get something done. Now, the problem herein lies with Josh Jacobs. And we knew Vegas wanted to move off him last season. McDaniels doesn't believe in paying running backs. And I actually am not aware. I'll try and see right now. But I'm actually not even aware of if Tony Pollard signed his deal. I don't even know if he signed his tag. I am not fully aware of that. Let me check right now. Let me check. I'm not actually fully aware. Yeah, he did sign his franchise tag on March 23rd. All right. So he's out, right? They have until July 17th to agree on a new contract, or he will earn $10 million on the tag, right? The reason why he's waiting for that July 17th negotiating window is that's the window the Giants, the Raiders, and the Cowboys have until that date to hammer out a long-term extension, or the only option for the players moving forward after July 17th will be to play on the franchise tag. Russell says, hey, Reason, is it possible to do an open panel before camp in a while, bro? Haven't got to talk football with you in a grip. Yeah, I'll probably do one for sure. Oh, yeah. I'll probably do like a Saturday night or a Friday night panel or something like that. And then I'll open it up for sure. Yeah, don't worry. That's on the docket. The problem is, there's so many panel shows around. As someone who basically, me, EM, Ball Game, we were part of the panel revolution, right? The Tuesday night panel is what has bred, it bred Larry's panel channel, and then Larry's panel channel bred all these other panels, and it's just it's oversaturated right now with that, and you hear a lot of the same people with a lot of the same opinions talking over and over again for hours upon hours. So, that's why I do it much, much, much more rarely now than I used to, because now when I do it on this channel, there's more, it's something to actually, anticipate and be excited for, you know what I mean? It's not something that's just oversaturated, right? So, and quite frankly, I think panels and constantly doing panels, that's you're depending on other people a lot to provide the content for you. You're not yourself making the content. So I like to be one of the people who comes out here and is a consistent and a constant content creator by myself. So, anyways, continuing on here for a second, let's get into, is Tua on the hot seat? And I want to ask you guys this question too right now. Would you deem Tua on the hot seat? The reason I ask is because we did this a couple years ago with Brian Flores. People pushed back, and I kept telling people, no, I'm hearing, yeah, he is on the hot seat. And you know what I mean? And that's when I started feeding the community a lot of the stuff I was hearing about behind the scenes and what was going on between him and Tua and him and some of the other players like X and stuff like that. So, I want to ask you guys in the chat, is Tua on the hot seat? And the reason why I ask you guys that is this, all right? In Lindy's 2023 NFL preview magazine, right? This shout out to Dolphins Talk. They had this. They had a write up on Lindy, so you didn't have to actually go and buy it. Beautiful. But go out and buy it. You can see they rated our quarterback room, our receiver room, everything like that. And this was written by Walter Villa of Lindy's, this portion here, but Lindy Sports, their Pro Football 2023 preview, right? And this is basically on at the bottom of the page about quarterbacks. There's a box titled "On the Hot Seat," And the player they put on the hot seat was Tua Tagovailoa. And as you can see, the first two paragraphs of this section read as follows. In his first 3 years in the NFL, Tagovailoa is 21-13 as a starter, but he started just 9 out of 16 games as a rookie. 12 of 17 in 2021 and 13 out of 18 last year. The Dolphins were 8-5 when Tagovailoa started last season and 1-4 when he was out injured, including going 1-done in the playoffs. The pressure is on for Tagovailoa to avoid his concussion issues. Villa goes on to point out that when he's been healthy, Tagovailoa has been good, setting career highs in yards, touchdowns, yards per attempt, yards per completion. But regardless of this positive statistics, Villa doesn't feel those are enough to keep Tua off the hot seat this season. Now, basically, he is putting him on the hot seat because of his health, right? He basically says in the article too, due to concern for Tua's football career, but also his quality of life, that's why, he's really hammering home the whole health thing, right? And he's got Tua on the hot seat because of his health. And listen, I know initial reaction is going to be like, whoa. But let's have the conversation here, right? We can all agree that if something happens this year and he gets hurt, that's not going to be good for his future with the Miami Dolphins. Now, they have franchise tagged him for the following year, sure. But they could very well dip in the draft or look deeper into Skylar Thompson. I mean, we can all agree his health is on the hot seat. I don't know if it's Tua as much as his health is on the hot seat. Got to stay healthy. So it's not as ridiculous as a statement as some people might claim it to be. Because if he can't stay healthy, especially when we're this all in and the roster's built this way, listen, the franchise is going to do something about it. Now, I personally think he's going to stay healthy this year, so I'm not worried. But, he's putting in the work to stay healthy, and I think he's going to reap the rewards of it by staying healthy. And we're going to reap the rewards of it as Dolphin fans, and so will the team as they make a long run into the playoffs. But, it's not that far-fetched because of his health. If they said Tua's health is on the hot seat, I love Tua, but if he can't stay healthy, Knight knows what's up, right? It's not performance-based, right? Like, this is not performance-based. It should be Tua Tagovailoa's health is on the hot seat. That should be what it is, right? Because they go hand in hand. The only thing that's on the hot seat about Tua is his health. But, again, I still think we'll be fine, right? The concussion things, he'd never dealt with that before in his whole career. You see the effort they've put in by strengthening the neck, learning to distribute your energy when you fall. He'll be fine. He'll be fine, right? I'm not worried. So, I like what Robert Thompson says. Robert Thompson got the right attitude. The only hot seat for Tua is on the sideline due to weather. Yeah. After he's blowing the team out, let's make sure so people don't misconstrue that as getting benched, because they will. So that is what Lindy's 2023 Pro Football said about Tua. I want to know in the comments right now, what do you think? Is Tua on the hot seat? Let me know in the comments below. I want to know. Michael says Tua's not on the hot seat. There's no hot seat, he says. There is no ridiculous. He had bad luck. Right? Because, see, here's the thing. None of these teams are going to go without their quarterback. We went over this. It was one of the best points Alan Papar made. If Tua can stay healthy, well, if Mahomes can stay healthy, because what are the Chiefs going to do if he can't? If Jalen Hurts stays healthy, because what are the Eagles going to do if they can't? If Josh Allen stays healthy, what are the Bills going to do if he can't? No. I agree, Michael. Yeah, no. For injuries, that's a fair argument. Yeah, that's I just think to look at it. It's a fair argument, right? Health-wise, yes. Performance-wise, no. See, that's where I'm at. For play, no, I agree. Nah. Coke Master, health. Yeah. See, it's, we can all admit. We could be right here. We could, it's fine. Okay? All right? That's it. Can Lamar stay healthy? Right? Gary's got it right there. Lamar's a guy you can ask. The Ravens are saying the exact same thing in Baltimore. Right now, they are saying the exact same thing in Baltimore. Hey, we can make a run if Lamar stays healthy because he's missed more games than Tua over the last couple of years. Right? And H says if players such as Lamar are on the hot seat, then Tua isn't. There you go. That is a good point. There you go, H. That is a good counterpoint. So, I can see both sides of the argument on this one for sure. For sure. Let's talk about this. I'm just looking for a reason to talk about Zion. So, there was this Twitter account. Zion Williamson doesn't have a relationship with the Pelicans organization. Quote unquote, there's no relationship between Zion. Anyways, all that stuff. And what does Tyreek Hill say? Remember, this is an outside source. Mother effers said the same about QB1, but everyone loves him. Tyreek Hill, again, swiping at the media, and the guy's using Zion and everything that's going on with Zion right now. Shout out to Moira Mills. Everything going on with Zion right now, and he's using that as an example to show, listen, people are going to kick you when you're down. Everyone knew about the whole, and it goes back to the whole Flores thing we talked about earlier, right? Remember, one of the reports that I had with the whole Flores thing was I was hearing before it was coming out, before Omar was coming out here and calling Tua a weirdo, which, whatever. I was getting I was getting stuff fed to me that, coaches and players in the locker room don't like Tua. Right? And I remember a certain radio personality coming out here and implying Xavien Howard didn't like Tua Tagovailoa. When I came out here and said I have a direct link to Xavien Howard loves Tua Tagovailoa. I've been saying that for years when people would try. There was a certain radio personality that was trying to pit Xavien Howard against Tua and saying he doesn't love him. And I was saying, nope, X loves Tua. That's not even a question. And now you see the softball game, everything. They love each other. And, and when I made that report, because my job when I get information is, first of all, I got to siphon through what I think is worthy of putting out to you guys, right? Then on top of that, I got to give my opinion on the information I'm giving you. So when I'm relaying information to you, it's not my opinion. You can tell where my opinion is compared to the information I'm giving you, whether it's written or in a video. And when I got the information about players and coaches not liking Tua Tagovailoa, it wasn't jiving with what I was hearing from other people connected to players. And so then that's why you can go look at the written portion of it. I said, and I even came out publicly and said this as well, I felt there was posturing going on in the locker room. I felt Flores and his guys were posturing against Tua and his guys. Lo and behold, that's basically what happened, right? It was all a smear campaign from Flores and his side to smear Tua so the franchise would choose him over Tua. That's all it was. And, people in the media were jumping all over it. Omar Kelly came out here and called Tua a weirdo. Big O came out here and was trying to say was trying to imply Xavien Howard was the one talking about wasting years and didn't like Tua. I saw all the implications going on because I was coming out here and telling you people at the time that is not true at all. Xavien Howard loves Tua Tagovailoa. I remember it all. Okay? I remember it. Right? Once again, people spewing nonsense and reasons right. So, heed Tyreek and what he said. Not everything you hear is true, even if it comes from these crazy good outlets. When it gets into those type of rumors and locker room innuendo. All right? And I knew I just made the right choice. I was hearing from both sides. It felt like posturing to me. It felt like a smear campaign. Tua and his side were trying to defend him, while Flores and his side were trying to smear him. Well, I mean, trying to defend. Yeah, exactly. And I just read between the lines. I read the situation, and I read it properly. So Tyreek out here sending y'all warnings. Listen, I'm not here. I'm going to tell you this right now. Listen, if I was a Pelican, do you think I would give a flying F who Zion Williamson is sleeping with? I would care about Zion. You got to be on the court more, kid. You know? Zion's never played to Tua's level in their respective sports. Right? Tua's shown an MVP ceiling. Zion Williamson, has he even shown a six-man ceiling yet? Right? So, but this goes all the way back to the Flores stuff, what Tyreek's saying, right? So, you gotta be able to decipher and siphon through the bullshit. You gotta be able to, even when you're getting fed. That's why I see so these people on Twitter and YouTube, all these people so eager to have a source or be right about something. You know how many times these people have been wrong, and I'm just sitting here like checking the boxes of how many times they've been wrong? Because they just, whatever they get told, they don't fact check, they don't check the person telling it, they just throw it out there. Not the way you do things, man. It's not the way you do things. That's not responsible. It's not responsible to this fan base or to yourself. All right, continuing on here. Tanner Connor, guys. He's ready to contribute, apparently. From David Ferones, Tanner Connor's much stronger and ready to take on year 2 as an NFL tight end. Tanner Connor was a training camp darling for the Dolphins in the 2022 preseason, but it didn't result in offensive snaps for the converted college receiver from Idaho State that was playing tight end in the NFL as an undrafted rookie. It did. He dropped some passes, though. Connor played 25 snaps on offense, being targeted 3 times without a catch. He contributed significantly on special teams, though, seeing action in 13 games for 152 snaps. Despite Connor standing out with highlight catch after highlight catch in training camp last season, the 6'3" pass-catching target was always a long shot to get playing time over Durham Smythe, Mike Gesicki, and Hunter Long, who the Dolphins selected in the 3rd round of the 2021 draft. Gesicki went to the New England Patriots, and Long was sent to the Rams in the trade for Jalen Ramsey. Connor suddenly becomes the Dolphins' second longest tenured tight end on the roster behind Smythe, with veterans Eric Saubert and Tyler Croft added in the offseason. Former Stanford wide receiver Elijah Higgins making a similar transition to tight end after he was drafted in the 6th round. Going through an entire year was great for me because I got to watch Durham and the vets we had last year, Connor said last week. Coming into it this year, way more comfortable. I feel like the game has slowed down for me, at least from a knowledge standpoint. It's been a big learning curve for me, and last year was really rough. But it's good to see the first-year labor finally start to see improvement this year. Connor said he had a lot to learn last season about identifying defenses, especially defensive fronts. He said his standout training camp was instinctual, and it wasn't easy to play a new position as a rookie. The NFL is a different game of football than college, at least for me. I came from a small school, and I played wide receiver. Now I have to learn to ID the box and do run plays and all that, he said. For me, it was really overwhelming because I'm a perfectionist, and you can't be a perfectionist your rookie year. Connor said he's getting off the ball quicker this offseason, heading into second training camp, which will start in late July. He said last year he was usually the last one off the ball. In order to withstand the requirements of playing tight end in the NFL, Connor had to get stronger. While listed at 332 pounds, he said he's now at 336 after gaining 10 pounds of muscle from ending last season under 230. That's good to see. Last year was a stressful year, and I wasn't eating as well as I should have. So this year, this offseason, I made it a goal to be more routine with my eating. I got in the weight room. I did my whole offseason here with head and strength and conditioning coach Dave Paloka and the guys. With more weight, Connor could be better handle the blocking aspect of playing tight end, especially in Coach Mike Montana's offense, where it's important when it comes to outside zone blocking. I feel like I understand blocking a lot better, he said. Last year, I feel like I was trying to just hit people as hard as I could, and I feel like it didn't work for me because I'm a smaller tight end. Connor has worked with tight ends coach John Embry on hammering home technique. He's found veteran tight ends around him influential. Now Connor is the veteran to Elijah Higgins, who's following in the footsteps, switching from receiver to tight end. He's really good, really athletic, really explosive. He's going to have a really good fit here, and I'm excited to see how he does, Connor said of Higgins. We have a lot of similarities. His first question to me was, man, how'd you get through it? How'd you learn to play tight end? Just got to take time, man. You're going to go through rough spots, but you're going to get through it. He's got a lot of instinctual abilities that a lot of guys don't have. So he goes out there and he plays free. His pointers to Higgins, not to overthink things and to invite failure. One thing that I was really afraid of last year was failure, and it happened a lot, and it started to crush me. But if you can expect it, know that it's going to happen, grow, he's going to be in a way better spot than I was last year. The Dolphins also have undrafted rookie Julian Hill out of Campbell at tight end. He's 6'4", 247 pounds, and has shown flashes in the offseason program so far. Now, we've talked about it. This is easily one of our weakest units. Tight end, interior linebacker, and defensive tackle, like nose tackle depth. Weakest units for this team right now. We need, I didn't even think about that, and that really puts it in perspective that Tanner Conner is the second longest tenured Dolphin in that room right now. Anyways, we're going to need him to adapt, and I could get why he felt the pressure of having to perform being a perfectionist last year. No one expected him to make the 53. And then when the rumblings were starting that he was going to because the staff loved him, I can imagine the pressure of making that team. So with Tanner Conner, he's going to get more opportunities this year. Now, he had 3 targets, some drops there. Now, Skylar Thompson's got to learn to put some better touch on the football, because one of those drops, Skylar Thompson was absolutely lasering like a 7-8 yard throw, like Herbert over here, just trying to break fingers. But there's going to be more opportunities for Tanner Conner to make plays. He's added 10 pounds of muscle. A guy, sub 240. I like hearing what I'm hearing about him working with Embry, because a lot of it's gonna rely on technique with him. A lot of it's gonna come down to technique for Tanner Conner until he can continue to bulk up and get bigger, right? If he is planning to, but we are gonna need him this year, because that room, it's a crapshoot. You don't know how. I couldn't tell you what is going to come of that, because we really focus on inline blocking and disguising, so we're not telling our plays. But at the same time, we need guys who can still contribute as pass catchers. The seams, things can happen in the seams, especially for this offense when you look at all the speed everywhere. So anyways, that is the latest on Tanner Conner. Continuing on. We got some video here, but as well, let's do the article first. Xavien Howard's celebrity softball game is a bonding opportunity for the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa, batting right-handed, slammed a home run to left field to lead off Xavien Howard's celebrity softball game at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches on Saturday. As he rounded second base, Tagovailoa paid homage to Dolphins receiver Jalen Waddle. Tua waddled. Then he was mobbed at home plate as fans chanted, "Tua, Tua, Tua." Howard launched his event, which benefits United Way in West Palm Beach. Howard said, "Man, I feel like Florida's home for me. I've been here for more than 8 years, and, we've got a lot of support here. I just want to give out. Look out for the West Palm fans." And Howard was touched that teammates like Tua, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Trill Williams, Keon Cross, and Raekwon Davis agreed to participate. "I feel like we support each other," Howard said. "We've been keep building relationships. Under the leadership of first-year coach Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins had good chemistry in 2022. That's how you build team camaraderie. At the end of the day, we have fun because it's bigger than football. It's not just, us on the field supporting each other. Whether it's family time or going to dinner with each other or doing an event like this, it's very important that we just have the team bond." Cross noted that Xavien plans to attend his camp. Howard noted that many Dolphins attended Taron Armstead's recent camp. "X is like a big brother of mine," Trill said. "So anything he wants to do for charity or things of that nature, I'll willingly do it for him, no questions asked." Williams, a safety/cornerback. Remember, we've talked all offseason that I've heard the rumblings are switching to safety. They're switching to safety. Now they're actually putting it in articles here. Returning from injury, he said he's been cleared for football. Williams boasted that once he played in the Little League World Series for a team from Yonkers, New York. So he's ready to compete. "We've got to see each other almost every day in the locker room, so this is pretty much going to be bragging rights," Some former Dolphins like Jakeem Grant, Rashad Jones, Duke Johnson, Bobby McCain also played in the game. And Trill Williams said it's the perfect time for current teammates to gel. And Crossan said the defensive unit under the leadership of first-year defensive coordinator Vic Fangio has been building good chemistry. You got a lot of guys that are eager, ready to learn, ready to play, and ready to change the trajectory of our season from last year, Crossan said. Obviously, playoffs was a good thing, but it's not our ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is to get that trophy. Oh, man, we've talked about it. This team, they understand the expectations in the room, and they're ready to play up to them and live up to them. And the chemistry keeps to build for this team. I love it. I love it. Even old Dolphins coming out and showing some love. And if you missed it, here are 2 angles of Tua's leadoff home run from yesterday. I got 2 angles for you here. All right? We'll play these for you. Swinging for the fences. There's the water. Let's go. We got a better. There you go. And here's another angle. Boom. Let's go. Yeah, Troy, I heard the turnout was okay. Awesome stuff. Get used to those Tua chants coming from South Florida. There you go. So Tua out here going yard. Who is this guy? Is that Babe Ruth? Is that Tua Ruth? Is that Babe Tagovailoa? Who is that out there? Speaking of Trill Williams feels fantastic 10 months after torn ACL. And Miami Dolphins cornerback Trill Williams was potentially primed for a breakout 2022 season, especially with how many players the Dolphins had go down with injury at the position. But Williams was among the first of Dolphins cornerbacks to miss time. A torn ACL in his left knee suffered in the fourth quarter of a preseason opener at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers cost him his second NFL season. 10 months later, as Miami completed organized team activities and mandatory minicamp earlier in June, Williams has made significant progress and should be ready for training camp starting in late July. I feel fantastic, Williams said. I got cleared toward the ending of OTAs. I'm just ready to go back out there, compete, and prove to myself and the coaches and show the coaches and everybody else what I can do with my abilities. Said Howard of Williams, he's coming along good. I don't know the timetable of his recovery, but he's looking good. Williams said made the Dolphins active roster as an undrafted UDFA out of Syracuse in 2021, but he was only active for one game as a rookie, playing 4 defensive snaps and 15 on special teams in the finale against the New England Patriots. Had he not suffered the knee injury in August 2022, he could have seen more action in a season where the Dolphins had Byron Jones miss the entire year, and Nick Needham suffered a torn Achilles that cut his season short among other injuries. Now Williams can compete among a group that brought in All-Pro Jalen Ramsey, drafted rookie Cam Smith in the second round, and returns Howard Needham, Kader Kohu, Keon Crossan, and Justin Bethel. We got some good pieces in there. Everybody that's in the room is going to compete, and you want a room where you got guys that are going to compete because it's going to push you to be the best version of yourself. We have a great corner room, great DB room. When Williams can become a contributor in a new defensive coordinator Vic Fangio scheme, which should go away from the large amounts of man coverage played in previous seasons. He's very successful with that defense, and we have the type of DBs for that defense he likes to run. It's a great change-up from the defense we had prior, probably less man. We got guys like Jalen that played in this type of defense before that can give us tips about how to play the best way possible. Williams can also present position versatility like Ramsey did in the defense with the Los Angeles Rams. He said he could play cornerback, safety, nickel, and dime. And remember, guys, Ramsey talked about this. We all talked about how he's going to be playing the star role here like he did in LA, but he's come out himself and said there's multiple guys who can play the star role. Was Trill Williams one of the guys he was talking about? Shout out to Michelle with the $20 super chat sticker. Appreciate you, Michelle. I hope you're having a fantastic day with your family, and I hope it's a good Father's Day over on your side of the pond. Thank you, Michelle. One of the biggest supporters of this channel. She always supports this channel. So thank you, Michelle. As always, I hope you're having a fantastic weekend, Michelle, and a fantastic day. But with Trill Williams, I mean, he talked about it, he basically telling you I can play that star role. This could be Jalen Ramsey's relief right here. Plus, he could be one of the guys that steps up and fills for the loss of Eric Rowe. Right? We're going to need guys to step in for Eric Rowe. Right? Eric Rowe offered us more in coverage than Brandon Jones did. Sure, Brandon Jones can make up for some of those box snaps, but the coverage snaps Eric Rowe made up for, that's going to have to be Deshaun Elliott or Trill Williams or someone else, right? So we'll see how it goes. But, hey, he's ready to go. We were all excited about Trill last year, and we're going to get to see him back in action. And he's ready to go for the start of camp, which is huge. Huge, if you ask me. So, finally here, I don't maybe Mike Florio and Chris Sims are just starting to suck up to us now. I don't know what. But Pro Football Talk came out with their NFL power rankings, and they got us top 10. They got us 7th. Now, I don't know how they got the Jags ahead of us. We got a way better defense than the Jags. I think we are ahead of the Jags. For sure. But at least they didn't put the Jets in front of us. But I don't know if Florio and them are trying to make up for, they're trying to get on our good side now after everything they did. You know what I mean? Sorry, bring it over here. I don't know whether they're just trying to get on our good side now. I don't know what the deal is. But in their write-up, when discussing the NFL power rankings, they did say, as Tua goes, so go the Dolphins. So... and they did drop the Bills down, I guess, from the initial ranking they were going to give them because they talked about the drama going on in Buffalo right now. Do you agree with this? I've said this before, okay? I think we're 4 or 5, right? I think, depending on San Fran's quarterback situation, I think the best teams right now are Kansas City, the Eagles, the Bengals, San Fran, then us. And if San Fran doesn't figure out that quarterback situation, I'd bump us up to 4. And the only reason I'm putting all those teams ahead of us is because they have their core have a lot more playoff experience than we do, and some of those cores have big game playoff experience, right? So I'll put them ahead of us. The Bills, I just can't because I just see them regressing. And I agree with Ronnie. How are the Cowboys in the top 10? Are we going to play this song and dance every year with the Cowboys? It seems every year the Cowboys, I get the whole America's team thing, but when are we going to finally admit to ourselves that team just doesn't have it? They play in the NFC least. The Eagles are a far superior team to them right now. I don't think many people would argue that. They don't have a chance, right? And the Giants are on an upward trajectory now that they brought in Dabble. It's going to get harder for the Cowboys. 8-8 ain't going to hack it anymore to win that division and get in the playoffs. Hate to be the one to tell them that. Right? That's how I see it. Tell me where I'm wrong. So, we'll see how that all plays out. Listen, it's Father's Day, man. Guys, it's Father's Day. Enjoy the time with your family. Yeah, Ronnie, basically kind of like the rover like Eric Rowe did with Fangio. I could see Deshaun and Trill kind of like, filling that in, right? I can see that for sure. I can see that 110%, to be honest with you, right? So, but remember, when we're talking about that star role specifically with it, and it's one of the reasons why, Cam Smith is going to be so good because he allows Ramsey the flexibility too, right? But the star role is basically key in any nickel defense, right? It's going to allow you to play up on the line of scrimmage, help and run support, and you basically be used like a chess piece by Fangio and under his principles, which, allow you to move the player before or after the snap, react from depth, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of layers to it. And, hopefully Trill Williams can, really catch on and adapt quickly in camp, because that safety position is going to need bodies. I think we're good at corner, but safety, we're a little thin behind the big boys there, right? Behind Xavien and Deshaun Elliott. And, we don't know what condition Brandon Jones is going to be in. We don't know yet. We don't know how quickly he's going to be able to return to form. He might not be back to his normal self till next season, even though he plays this year. ACLs, Achilles injuries, those usually take, guys come back, and they usually aren't right till the year two after the second season, or year two after the injury. So here's hoping they can hit the ground running and, be effective right away, right? We got to hope that, because we need all the depth possible in the secondary. Man, we had over 350 of you guys today at one point. I appreciate all of you for coming out on this Sunday, Father's Day, and I hope all of you have a blessed day. As you know, Neil wasn't here today, just schedules didn't align, so we're going to just pick up this week on Thursday with Fin Too Deep after we do the finish line with Richmond and Ballgame on Wednesday, and we'll be back to our regularly scheduled. And I pushed back the Mitchell Agudier prospect profile, so we'll do that next weekend, because we were going to be doing Fin Too Deep today, and that didn't work out. So I'll push back the Mitchell Agudier prospect profile, the UDFA prospect profile, for next week for all of you guys, all right? I appreciate all of y'all for coming through. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new on the way out. To all of you that donated, thank you very much. Please do me the favor. Just smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Just hit that like button. Appreciate all of y'all, and I'll see all y'all in the next one. As always, fins up all day, every day. Enjoy Father's Day to all of you. And if I don't see you tomorrow, happy Juneteenth, okay? Appreciate all of y'all. Have a fantastic, fantastic